What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Cadoro Nano Sealer. This is a two-part matte sealer, washable. You can use it in showers. We're going to use it on this fireplace. You can use it on range hoods. It's a very tricky process trying to figure out how much you need and how much you need to mix. So what we're going to do is go over that today. So what you're going to need is gloves, a roller. This is a very specific roller. I highly recommend using these. It makes the process way better. These are them. You also want to make sure you have a strainer, a mixer, and a drill, which you want to run on low speed. And then you're going to want a pencil because you're going to want to write down some notes for the first few times you use this stuff. All right, so here we go. We're going to put on our gloves. Really, when you're using this sealer, you should be wearing a N95 mask because it's got isocyanates in the activator. But because I'm in a big space and I want to be able to talk to you while I'm doing this, I'm sacrificing a few minutes off my life for you. So don't judge me. Wear a mask. Here we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix this up. I've got my drill on a low speed. Remember, I said everything settles to the bottom. So we're going to just mix this up for a minute. Make sure it's well mixed up. So I've got one of these little tools right here. I'm just going to check the bottom, make sure all the sides are good. See how I'm not lifting anything up off the edges of this tool? Now I know that the matting agent is well mixed in. Very little is coming off. If it was not mixed well, you would see that. So we're just going to mix that around a bit. Everything's good. So we're going to put that back in there like that. Okay, so now what you're going to want is a strainer. I always use a metal one like this because you can wash it. So much easier to just wash it and reuse it. We're going to put our bucket on, and now we're going to zero out the scale. This is the part B. This is a very thick medium that when I go to pour this out, it's very gel-like. This is the part where you would want to be wearing a mask because at this point, now you're mixing two products together and it's going to be off-gassing. But like I said, in this space, I've got a lot of free air. It's not going to smell that much, but 100% if you're in a bathroom or something like that, always wear a mask. So now the next most important part for this is you want a clean whip. This is a very expensive one. It works very well. What you're going to do now is you're going to mix this for 3 to 5 minutes. You need to make sure it's mixed very well. What I like to do is I like to take an Apple Watch or whatever watch or a kitchen timer, put this on 5 minutes, and then I know I'm mixing for 5 minutes. This part is fairly critical. Do not mix at a high speed. Put it on low and just mix all of this up in here really, really good. You're going to notice that the part B, like I was saying, is very gelatinous. It's very thick. So you want to make sure you're getting this really well mixed in there. Okay, so one thing you must know about any type of sealer and nano sealer, it's all based on how rough or absorbent your surface is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tray and I'm going to zero it out. I'm going to zero out the scale. I'm going to put the tray on, and I know that this weighs 220 grams. I'm going to write that down. So when I seal the first part of the fireplace, I can then take all my sealer, have it in the tray, and then I can weigh it, and I will know what my consumption is going to be, so you know if you need to make more. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to move this to the side. I'm going to take my screen again, and now I'm going to strain all the material. Plaster is really smooth, but either way, I'm still going to do it anyway. So I've broken in my roller already. The key to this next coat is this needs to dry 100%, and you do not want to back roll. Basically, you can back roll a little bit, but you don't want to get all the way to the end and then come back and touch it. So I'm basically just going to kind of cut in my edges. I'm going to do my thing a little bit right here so that I can just move along the wall. You can see how quick it absorbs in there. I'm basically doing this because I don't want to get it over the top part first. We're basically just going to go like this and roll this on. You can see that it's going to go really dark. That's what plaster does. And we're just gonna keep rolling along the surface. So remember, I don't wanna get all the way to the end and then back roll. I wanna do it all right now and kind of just make all of this the same even darkness. If you're working on a big wall, that's okay. Just work a bit slowly. If you see something in there, pick it out now because you don't wanna really be sanding it. But that's basically it. We're just gonna work along the whole surface. You can see how good this roller is because it actually flows really nicely. It doesn't create a lot of texture on the surface. See how I'm not going all the way back? That's really important. You kind of just want to work from wet edge to wet edge. Especially on a color really dark like this. Things kind of show a lot. Okay, so now we've done the hearth. So what we're gonna do is, because I need to know my absorption per square foot based on whatever the material I've used on there, which is lime plaster. So remember, I weighed my tray, and so I know that my tray is 220 grams. So now if I put the entire mix on here, with the 220 grams of the tray, minus whatever's in the roller and the brush, I've got 529 grams with the tray left. So now I could measure the hearth, figure out what the square footage is, and then you know what your spread rate is for the first coat.